Mine is it's the unlikable people in that tent that keeps other people out. I think they lost on culture war issues, and they've just gone too far with the pronouns, too far with the like weirdness.
It's
acceptance.
The trans kid stuff. Trump hammered them with ads on that. We didn't get ads, I don't think very much, but I looked into like what he was running, and he hammered the trans issue big time with ad buys. There was a lot of that, but I just think Kamala's unlikable. I think that she ran for president before, and we were looking at those clips months ago of Tulsi Gabbard like wiping the floor with her. I think that people didn't like her very much, and there has to be at least some percentage of the population, Democratic voters, who didn't care for her being foisted upon them in what felt a bit undemocratic to me. I didn't complain about it much because it seemed like I was just sour grapes or whatever, because a young person with a fully functional brain is now the opponent. Right. But in reality, I was thinking like, we're used to picking the vice president. It just feels like the next candidate doesn't necessarily like
they shouldn't be anointed by some cigar smoking back room.
Exactly. Yeah, I get that Joe Biden. It makes sense to me that Joe Biden gets his chance to be president next, and that he'd be the automatic party candidate, but not her. Not her. She's the backup president.
But stuck in like the reality of where they were, like Biden wasn't going to win, right? So they had to do something, and it seemed like Kamala was the only way they could go because of some sort of campaign finance complexity that I don't.
And I bet she pulled.
I don't know why it's so impossible to take the money raised for Biden and send it to Shapiro, for example, or Buttigieg, even better, my guy. But there are half dozens of us that love this guy.
That guy would have got smoked.
Can you? What do you think? What state else would the Republicans have won if Buttigieg had been there? I think maybe you lose New Jersey or something, dude. like I was watching New Jersey like months ago, and I was like, Trump's leading in some of these New Jersey polls. If Trump wins New Jersey, it's the dawning of a new day. Now, of course, nothing flipped that we didn't think was going to flip. He did take Nevada or whatever in the Sun Belt that Hillary took back in their turn, but everything else was just kind of what it's the swing states, and then all the states that always go red and all the states that always go blue. There's 7 swing states that I saw a BBC article, and it was one of those where it's like, yeah, that's true, but I don't like it. And it's like, why these 7 states determine the leader of the free world? And I was like, yeah, well, you see, the system makes sense because we've got so many aircraft carriers. You don't even know.
It makes sense because we have a giant military and you guys don't. Man, that stinks, doesn't it? That really stinks. What are you gonna do?
I'm glad he won the popular vote though, because I think the word I sent to our text was mandate. When I saw that he was like millions ahead in the popular vote, and they were showing how he was performing in like they'd zoom in on the blue counties of like Detroit or like the bluest of blue, and they're like, Trump won 35% here. Like more than 1/3 of the bluest of the blue regions are Trump supporters. And it's like, yeah, that's how you stack up a popular vote win. You can't.
It's a huge win. And I hear mandate and I instinctively push back, but I try to say like, well, what if you flipped it? If Kamala had just taken the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, you'd call it a mandate. I think I would. So
the popular vote and
the popular vote. I'm really glad that the winner of the presidency won the popular vote too.
Big time.
I prefer that.
It is the Electoral College is a terrible system. It's bad for America, and I think some Republicans like it just because it's good for them at the moment. In the past, it's been better for Democrats. I don't know when, but like far enough back, it has been.
When Ohio and Florida were swing states.
But I just think that it becomes about a couple of states and a couple of locations in a couple of states instead of it being every vote in America matters. And it would be more about issues. I think there are farmers in Iowa and farmers in California who have a lot in common, and they'd be campaigning for both of them at the same time. There are IT people in North Carolina and IT people in Texas, and they'd be campaigning for both of them at the same time. It'd be more about the people and their issues and what's important to them than like 8 years ago. Cole had an outsized opinion, like impact on the election. Arby's. I love the quote. Arby's employs more people than the coal industry does. The fast food restaurant, but somehow coal becomes this major thing in America. It's the most expensive energy source, and it's the dirtiest energy source. And we're like, gotta keep coal around. Why? Because there's a couple jobs in swing states that matter.
Imagine if we got 30%.
We just need to go nuclear, bro.
From roast beef sandwiches.
Yeah, that's a national security thing
too.
That's because of like so
many
regulations.
The cost of burning curly fries is fuel. You don't know.
Like we literally have a system where we discovered magic rocks that create free energy, magic runes that create energy, and we find ways to be like, actually, a big fan in Kansas is where I want to go. It's like, no, that's retarded. We have these magic rocks that create clean, free energy long term. France has a huge amount of success with these modular nuclear reactors where instead of going like traditional nuclear reactors where they make an enormous one and then they try and backfill it with more stuff later, they make these small modular nuclear reactors. And then when they need more power, if they do, they just add an additional one to the complex. And so it's like France is doing a good job with it. And I will be damned if we're being beaten by fucking French people in nuclear.
I think the next generation of nuclear doesn't use water. I think they melt sodium or something like that. It's like liquid salt.
I've heard that.
And the Russians have, and I'm sure we do too. It's what our spacecraft use. The batteries on spacecraft, like are these fission decay batteries, and the Russians make tons of them. I think they're about the size of like the dumpster outside of a fast food joint, like the green ones. And they make a good bit of power, but they're just incredibly poisonous. And the Russians have abandoned them all over their vast empire. So they're just out there, you know. That's when you talk about like the amount of money that we've spent to clean up their nuclear mess is ridiculous. To like go over there after the Soviet Union fell apart.
We just fund everything.
Well, in our best interest, right? Like if there's radioactive material in those batteries and our fucking enemies get them and make a dirty bomb, that would be a real problem. Yeah, you don't
That's
want.
Fair.
It'd be easy to do too. It's really easy to do.
Do you think
with that,
like just on the Democrat like autopsy thing again, like do you think there's any chance that a lot of these, because I think a big problem of what they did with their messaging is that it's just too much of a circle jerk of like DC liberals putting forth to each other. Like if you've ever been in a room deciding what goes on in an advertisement, for example, it's largely liberal women who decide advertising. And it's almost a one-upsmanship thing as you're watching an ad be created. You say there should be a couple here. And then this guy walks in and uses the Swiffer and uses the traditional vacuum, and he's all bumbled and he can't figure it out. And then a smart woman comes in and shows him that the Swiffer is the true solution. And then you get one of the, liberal women being like, and they should be a mixed race couple. And then someone else goes, actually, it should be a gay couple. And this is how you actually get these ridiculous, like building on one another things, is because it's a whole room in advertising, because liberal women run advertising.
What if he's a furry and they have to clean up all the fur?
Perfect. We can't go back off that now and reveal that I'm not as extreme as the other advertising. Like it's that thing in their messaging where there's too many people getting their news in this same milieu, this same silo, where because their friends think the trans kid thing is super important and super popular, they don't know anybody who isn't in favor of it. They put that forth as like a big thing. And they can't be perceived as the one who doesn't want to lean on that, because that's a slight against them in that very hyper progressive world. And so like, if they want to be serious, like they really have to excise a lot of this poison from their strategy departments and their outreach, because if they don't, they're just going to keep losing.
Have you done it yet? Have you gone on to YouTube and searched Liberal Tears 2024?
I have not. No. Are there good things?
Well, my goodness. There's some great TikToks. I saw a couple of really butch black ladies like screaming so loud.
Oh, I saw that on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. There's one in her car and then one in her bathroom. The one in her bathroom, I was like, if you're this tore up about it, you wouldn't have had time to set up a phone, because she's like having a seizure. she's flailing. I never saw her face because she's like flailing about so much, screaming, "No, God, no." That's
the problem with this. It's like, and action. I'm so unhappy.
Yeah.
Like, what is this horse shit?
The real ones were like that lady in the green sweater right after 2016, where like she has no idea she's being filmed, and she's just like, just a primal scream of despair.
That lady cost the blue team $250,000. Like, nobody wants to be on the same team as her.
Yeah.
And stop making that the front page of the Democratic Party.
Yeah. They need a rebrand desperately. And if they shift to kind of a more populist, not obsessed with these like weird progressive pet causes.
How did she do with black men? Because I would be surprised if she
won 80-20 of black men, I believe.
No way. I don't believe that.
20% of black men
90-10.
Yeah, 20% of black men going. It was 88-12, I think, the total black vote. And that's like not that off of normal, I think. I think it's usually like 10-12% of
I know black women, she got like 96% of.
Yeah, there's no group that votes more Democrat than black women.
My goodness, that is they're in the bag. Like there aren't too many black ladies who are down for the Trumpers, I guess. Yeah. You know what? I bet those other fucking 4% just can't read. More likely than they support Trump.
In a totally selfish way, I want the Democrats to double down on all of these pet social issues, because it will because normal people hate this shit.
And can I tell you, they
need, like, if they do, they're just being led around by the nose by people.
Each side has this blind spot for the other where they can't like empathize with them and get inside their shoes. It's like when the left says that the right wants to control women's bodies, and they're like, "What are you talking about? No, we didn't want you to quit killing your kids. Hey, stop killing them babies. Hey, put that baby down." Yeah, like that's and the right is like, yeah, they just love murdering kids, those bitches. And it's like, no, like sometimes I know you didn't get a great education about what's inside of a woman, but it's not just the vagina. See, there's this whole inner working in there, and shit goes wrong. You don't even want to know. All sorts of gross, icky stuff happens inside of a woman. And you want to doctor it. And Lindsay knows. Lindsay be explaining
despicable
you don't even want to know the evil that goes on inside of a woman's vagina.
Don't even like him voting.
But like abortion can be health care. It can be. But I hate this idea that it just is health care in the same way that like X-rays are health care. You know, like we don't also use X-rays to murder small children.
Right.
You know,
somebody.
Yeah.
I like Buttigieg. I watch him go on Fox News and just dominate all the time. I feel like if he was the Fox News whisperer running for president the entire cycle, that he'd do better than you guys say he would. But I haven't been right about much lately, so I'm going easy on it.
I'm just vibing off of it, but blacks and Hispanics, particularly religious ones, are not going to turn out heavy for a gay guy.
Yeah, he's not that black vote for the first time.
I mean, aside from the having sex with men thing, that's true.
You know what he does more than anything in the world? Dick.
Butthole gonna go up there, and he says,
Dick and infrastructure bills. Those are his passions.
He loves that.
I think Trump would beat Buttigieg so badly.
Oh, yeah.
He would take. Like he won Latino men this time. He would win them so much more with Buttigieg as an opponent, and I think he'd win way more black guys too.
I saw a Democratic
black guys.
Sorry, I saw a Democratic strategist say, "Let's not run another woman." Like, look, I know this sounds bad. It was a woman too, and she's like, "Let's just run a white man next time around. Let's do that." And I'm like, like maybe she's right. Like,
yeah,
Trump, for all its benefits and its drawbacks, he looks at central casting almost first. You know, does this guy look like the one you want?